Hey, it's Angie from Angie's Vocals, and today we're going to talk about why you can't hit the high notes, common problems and solutions to help you get those high notes once you understand why you're not getting them. I'm Angie from Angie's Vocals, as I said, and we're passionate about helping you learn to unlock your voice and that potential and be able to sing with freedom. So don't forget to subscribe, click the notifications so that then whenever we've got a new video out, you're getting notified. And also pop some comments in, ask me questions. I want to help you get this breakthrough, and sometimes you need to ask those questions for things to really click. It is a bit of a puzzle, unlocking your voice. Everyone's got slightly different dynamics. Anyway, let's jump into it. So today I want to talk about the common misconceptions and technical challenges, psychological challenges that stop people from hitting the high notes. Now, hitting the high notes is counterintuitive, which means it's opposite to what you would think. So the high notes feel like they're up, so we push up, or maybe the low notes feel down, but it's not how it works. As you're going for high notes, the tension in the vocal folds are vibrating faster and faster and faster. And the main issue for most people is as it gets higher and it's vibrating faster, it's lengthening. We're not reducing the muscle pressure or the airflow, so it gets to a point where it just can't vibrate anymore. So because it just can't resonate anymore, so then it can't give you that sound. So with common exercises and tools, you can learn to do that. I think the psychological barrier is that we think it's up, not down. So we're going, and we're pushing up, but actually the high notes roll back and forward along the roof of our mouth. That's where we feel them. And they're kind of coming out the front and coming out the back. And sometimes they're doing both at the same time. So the psychological of where we're going for the instrument, most people don't get. Now, once you understand that, things start to just open up. So one of the ways that we can actually address that common problem with a solution is regular practice and vocal exercises. Really, we have to learn how to get those muscles, that airflow and the muscle balance right to access those high notes and start to get those high notes working. Now, without understanding that, the high notes are very difficult, or you might feel like they're hit and miss. Some days they work, some days they don't. Sometimes you feel like you're stuck in here, but that's because that pressure is getting so high, the vocal folds just can't work anymore. So when you're doing the right exercises the right way, you'll actually start to notice that unlocks as you teach your voice to work together. Now, a lot of people do exercises the wrong way. You can't just do exercises and hope they work. You have to be doing the right ones and starting to feel through, where do I feel that when it's working? And that is a game changer, but it will mean that you'll get more and more consistent with those high notes as you're teaching the muscles and that air balance to work together in a new way. Now, don't forget, when you're doing those exercises, it's not about how good it sounds. It's about teaching the muscles to work together. Just like going to the gym, when you're doing this, you don't walk around like this, but you're training the muscle to work in a new way. So it's the same with your exercises. It might sound a bit or a bit light. That's okay, because we're teaching the voice to do something new. If you keep trying to push the tonal quality, you're just going to end up going backwards or creating a very slow pathway forward. I find when people embrace those weird shapes in the exercises, they get breakthrough 3 to 6 months faster than if they don't. So it's really worth it. So make sure you're doing your exercises, make sure you feel like you understand them and you're working through them in a way that's starting to unlock. Softer is better than louder while you're learning something new. And that's that trick within the exercises that often stops people from really being able to sing the high notes and get breakthrough the way they want to. So another part of this is knowing how to diagnose and correct pitch. So many people find they're flat or they're sharp or they feel strained. So one of the ways you can do that is get an app. There's some fantastic apps that'll start to help you diagnose your pitch issues. Now, I even like some of the sing-along apps where you can actually aim for the note, right? You can see when you're out, because sometimes we don't know we're out. But the big thing for that is once we can see that we're getting the notes right, we can still have muscle tension that's flattening us off. It's not always that we're sending the right note or the wrong note with the pitch accuracy. It can actually be the strain. So I find if you put your tongue out while you're singing, 50% of people start to come into pitch. So if you're singing a song like this, it reduces the tension. The muscles can't squeeze and flatten your pitch, because sometimes it's the muscle making you out of tune, right? So 50% of people, when they pop their tongue out, there's a fire starting in my heart. There's a fire starting in my heart. They notice, oh, the pitch is coming in. Sometimes it's pushing your volume. So with the tongue out, just gently doing it. There's a fire starting in my heart. There's a fire starting in my heart. So you can feel the difference, and you start to focus on, wait a minute, where is that going? That it's not stuck and squeezing in here. Feeling it quite forward with the tongue out. There's a fire. Some people feel it up and back, but starting to feel where that freedom is reduces that tension and can reduce your pitch. But also with the app, starting to just track and being able to get that visual aid of where it needs to be. Test it with your tongue out and then start to head towards those areas will be a game changer for improving your pitch accuracy. So there are some great solutions in how to overcome that fear when you're going for the high notes. So many of us, when we go for the high notes, will take a big breath and then push. But because of that strain that happens as the vocal folds are vibrating faster, we actually need the opposite. We need less pressure and less air. So a great little tip to help when you're feeling nervous or worried about the high note is you take a deep breath, and when you're going for the high note, let 90% out just before you go for that high note. There's a fire. And what that does is it actually reduces that pressure and the air pressure and the muscle tension around the vocal folds that are going to squeeze right when you're going for that high note, which does make you nervous, right? You could be a bit shaky as well. So if the tension's not there, even if you're a bit shaky, it won't squeeze and you won't hear it in the note. So take that deep breath, let most of it out. There's a fire. And then it just reduces that pressure while you're learning to manage it, or if you're a bit shaky, it'll take it away from there so you can't hear it or it won't squeeze that note. And that's a game changer. The other one is actually softening your volume. So nice deep breath, letting most of it out, and softer. There's a fire, there's a fire. And even just going softer will create that quality, that tone, and reduce the pressure around here. They're two big game changers for reducing that pressure and anxiety and fear around going for those high notes. They really make a difference. Another big one for why you can't hit the high notes is actually lifestyle choices. There's so many areas around lifestyle choices that will affect your range, will affect your vocal folds, so that they'll cause swelling, friction, all those areas around your vocal folds, which means that they just can't stretch out to those high notes. So common things are smoking and vaping can really affect your voice because they create irritation, they create dehydration, and they also eat away. Those areas eat away at that really delicate lining around the vocal folds, which means you've got to work a lot harder to get those high notes. Now, there are tools around that, steaming and things where you can hydrate and reduce the swelling to impact that, but it's still going to make a difference with your consistency over your high notes. The other ones are certain foods, like anything with caffeine, alcohol, that has maybe junk or inflammation foods that will cause swelling through your body and can also impact just that pressure and strain around your vocal folds. That will cause swelling, again, friction around your vocal folds that make it harder to stretch out for your vocal folds to get their high notes, because your vocal folds have to stretch and stay fat to get those high notes. Allergies are the same. Allergies, hay fever, asthma, all those areas will prevent you getting the high notes because of swelling. And there's tools you can use for that, but you need to be aware of it. Another big one, even if you're a really healthy person and you exercise a lot, if you sing after you've exercised, your oxygenation levels are lower, so your voice won't actually let you, and your body won't let you hold notes for as long. So that means when you go for notes, if you haven't got as much oxygen, it will be harder to hit the high notes, harder to hold notes for longer. So you need to be aware of when you exercise, before, when you sing. And of course, all those things cause dehydration. So if the vocal folds are dehydrated, they're not lubricated, there's friction, they start to rub and swell. So having the hacks for hydration, like steaming and those other elements we've talked about in our other videos, will create that lubrication and that hydration. So when you go to sing, the high notes are so much easier. And you can do that like just before you go to sing, like there's those hacks that can just lubricate your vocal folds. So you'll get 30 minutes of range, high notes, lubrication, stamina while you're singing. That is a game changer. So really important to understand how that affects your voice. And those are some of the most common aspects that mean you can't get the high notes. So I hope that's been fantastic, been helpful. Pop comments in so we can answer questions. Let us know how you go with that. Don't forget to subscribe, click the notification button so that we can give you more information. And don't forget to jump over and have a look at some of our masterclass and our courses if you would like to just get that structured guidance. Or jump into Linktree and book me for a personal one-on-one as well if you feel like you can't quite work it out yourself. We're here to help and passionate about helping you unlock your voice and be able to sing with freedom. Have an amazing day.